Okay, we'll just wait for a minute or two more and we'll get started with the session. Just waiting for the others to join as well. And in the meanwhile, if there's any questions also on anyone's behalf, you can let me know any queries regarding cybersecurity or this course, Certified Ethical Hacking, before we begin.
Hi. Actually, I'm working as a cloud administrator. My background is completely administration only, like
Right.
server or storage, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I want to transition, I know still we did not had the demo, but like I'm thinking to transition or like maybe add cybersecurity to my profile. So I'm looking if it will suitable or like if it is completely a different stream. So that's what I'm thinking.
Right, yes. So again, I would say slightly, it's still in the technical background itself, but quite different because this course focuses on penetration testing, basically checking the security of every singular endpoint in an organization. Could be servers, could be routers, could be a cloud, again, cloud servers as well. So there's a topic called cloud security practices that is also included in the course, but that is only one topic related to the cloud. Okay. This course explains how to protect every singular device in the organization. Okay, doesn't just specifically relate to cloud, okay, but to all the devices and all endpoints. Okay, so definitely helpful in adding that feather of cybersecurity in your resume. Okay, if you want to transition into it, this is the only go-to course available, the best of the best choices. Okay, so but definitely different from your cloud administration. It's all about understanding how to prevent cyber threats on cloud or on
correct your mic.
Oh, my mic. Yeah, I'm using my mic is.
Your voice is coming something.
Is my audio not fine? Oh, let me check the speaker and.
For everyone or is for one?
Hello.
It is okay for me actually.
Yeah, it's fine, Abhi. I think there's no issue on my end. I just tested the microphone and the speaker. Everything seems fine. Maybe probably a network issue on your end.
Yeah, I'm checking.
Yes, I think I've answered your question. I mean,
yeah, and also there are like something like WAF, like like on the cloud network we have the web application firewall and
web
security. Yeah, security,
right.
other things, right? Like in AWS, it comes with security hub,
right?
Those kind of things. So already AWS is come, and also like Cisco on the Palo Alto firewall FTDs, firewall threat detection systems.
Right.
So how this course is different, or like how I can incorporate this course into my cloud profile, or like I'm asking too many questions.
No, nothing like that. Not at all. Not at all like that. So again, when you're talking about those courses, they are just limited to their own vendors' security features. Yes. Okay. Cisco would be talking about how you configure only Cisco servers, right? Or Cisco's firewalls, right? Okay. Palo Alto talks about their own firewalls. This course is not going to specifically be focusing on only one specific vendor. It's about common misconfigurations that occur on every server that would be possible and what leads to those vulnerabilities and threats. Okay. We are not, again, limiting ourselves to only one specific vendor. It's us talking about how to perform proper configurations so that these attacks are not possible, no matter what the vendor is. Okay, it's about you generally understanding what vulnerabilities exist on cloud servers, what misconfigurations usually exist on web application firewalls, and how do you remediate those. Okay, not limiting ourselves to one specific vendor.
Yeah, got you. Yeah, I'm good.
Right. Any other questions, guys, before we begin?
Yes, I want to know about where we can use this cyber security type of things on top of that application.
On top of which application?
So where we are using this one?
Again, as mentioned, this is not on top of any specific application. This is about you implementing proper cybersecurity practices in your entire organization itself. So in your organization, you have networks. In your network, you have devices. You have mobile phones, you have routers, you have your employee client operating system desktops. Okay, you have your organization servers, web servers, FTP servers, DNS servers, SMTP servers, your mail servers. Okay, and again your IP cameras. Okay, or your cloud servers as well. So the process or the objective, I would say, of this course is to understand something called cyber kill chain. In an organization, any of these devices could face a threat, could be leading to data disclosure or data exfiltration or a DOS attack, denial of service attack, distribution denial of service attack. So tons and tons of categories of cyber threats that are possible on every singular device in your organization. This course will be making you understand what these threats are. Okay, how do you detect these threats? Okay, how do you figure out what these threats are? Okay, and how do you prevent them in organizations on any device? Okay, so the process of ethical hacking is to find these loopholes or misconfigurations in your systems or vulnerabilities in your systems and rectifying them so that your organization is safe from those cyber threats. It's not specifically on top of one single application. It's implemented on every singular device in the organization. Okay, so and for every device, the configuration is different, the vulnerabilities are different. So this course talks about what those vulnerabilities are for different endpoints and how do you rectify those and prevent cyber threats in the organization. Okay, is that clear? Okay.
Yes, yes.
So once we progress with the demo, this will make more sense, guys. I'll be going into it a bit in depth, elaboratively. So, okay, let's get started. Again, just to clarify all your questions, let's get started with the demo without any further ado. And again, I think some people have still not joined yet, but yeah, they'll follow along. Before we do so, a quick formal introduction on my end, guys. My name is Mohammed Shoaib. I will be your cybersecurity trainer, certified from EC Council itself. Okay. Again, been working in this domain for the last 7 years and been training with DURGASOFT for the last 4 to 5 years at least. Okay. And again, when we talk about this organization, EC Council, it is one of the globally recognized organizations for trainings and certifications, specifically in the domain of cybersecurity. You can search for EC Council. This is the official website for ecouncil.org. And you can see these are all the certification and training programs available specifically for cybersecurity. A well-recognized organization, well-recognized among organizations like IBM, Microsoft, TCS, Xerox, Accenture, Cisco. Again, all these organizations highly valued certifications from EC Council. The reason I'm showing you all this is because the training program that we are following is the same one which is mentioned over here, CEH. Okay, that is the first certification that is done by people who want to get into the domain of cybersecurity. This is your first step into cybersecurity. Okay, and the version that we are running right now is version 13. Every few years, this version gets updated and latest concepts are added and the older ones are redacted, and we'll be following the same exact course outline which are mentioned over here in the official website. Same modules, okay, which are mentioned here. And once this course is done, you will be eligible to apply for job roles as such. You can apply for cybersecurity auditor, security administrator, IT security admin, infosec admin, network security engineer, SOC analyst, network engineer, security consultant, ethical hacker, threat modeling specialist, again, cybersecurity instructor, which is my part-time job role. Okay. And yeah, cyber defense incident responder. These are all the job roles that you can apply for. But again, most important factor to know what is you're acting here as a security consultant or a penetration tester. That is one of the most common job roles that you would find anywhere in the world, penetration tester, as you can see. Okay. So again, when we talk about this course now, Certified Ethical Hacking, the main question that arises among students is what is hacking and what is ethical hacking and how they are different from one another. And a lot of students have a misconception as well that they are both same terms, but that is a very wrong idea. Let me clarify. Okay. Oh, and one more thing. Oh, how long is the course duration? The course is for a duration of 35 to 40 days, guys, where we have classes from Monday to Friday, every day for 1 hour each. Okay. And there are no prerequisites required for the course because all the prerequisites required are included in the course itself. I'll explain that also in a minute. Okay. So yeah, let's get started without any further ado. And I might not check the chat once in a while, guys. So if there's anything, please do use your voice as well. I do not mind the interruptions at all. Okay, if you have any queries, please do again do not hesitate to bring out your question. Okay, so or talk about what is confusing. Okay, I do not mind the interruptions at all. Okay. Now let's get started. So we'll start with the definitions of what hacking is and what ethical hacking is. Okay. And I will start everything from scratch. Okay. So when we talk about hacking, this is the procedure of trying to gain access to information systems. Now, what I mean by that phrase, gaining access to information systems, is if I were a hacker, and let's say if I've hacked your devices, your phones or your web servers or your cloud servers or your laptops or whatever it means I've gotten unauthorized access to your devices, which means without your permission and without your knowledge, I have complete control of your device and the data on it. I can steal your data, I can delete or destroy your data, or I can sell your data to other people without your knowledge and without your permission, okay, which is definitely very malicious and very illegal. Okay, so hacking is the procedure of trying to gain access to information systems, which could be anything as small as a mobile phone to as big as a database, without the permission and without the knowledge of the organization or the person owning those systems. And this is usually performed by hackers for their own benefit. Or sometimes they are so mischievous they can give into it just for fun. Okay. Now, if hacking is such an illegal activity, why do we have a course called ethical hacking? And how is this getting ethical in the first place? To define ethical hacking, on the other hand, this is the procedure of trying to find vulnerabilities. This terminology called vulnerability is something that will keep coming across again and again and again. To define a vulnerability, it's a loophole, it's a flaw in the information system. And our job as ethical hackers are to find these loopholes in the information systems in the organization with the consent and with the knowledge of the person owning those systems or the organization owning those systems. So we work hand in hand with the organization. We perform everything with the limited boundaries and rules and regulations. We do not cross any boundaries. We find vulnerabilities and we report them back to the organization. Once these vulnerabilities are reported back, the company knows where their security is lacking and they would apply the necessary security updates, or also commonly known as security patches. And once these patches have been applied, you have closed all the doorways or all the pathways for the hackers to enter into your organizations illegally. Okay, so you're basically protecting the organization from these cyber criminals and seeing to it that these cyber threats are not occurring on your organization by protecting the devices from various cyber threats. Okay, any questions or doubts up to this point, guys? Any queries or questions? Please do not hesitate to let me know if you don't understand something. I'll clarify it in much simpler terms if required. So any questions or doubts up to this point?
Yeah, I have one question.
Yeah, Sarish, go ahead.
Yeah, this hacking, these things are comes under layer 7 only, right?
Not necessarily. Again, could belong again at any layer. There are vulnerabilities that we'll be finding in sessions layer also, where we can modify session IDs of other users and log into their accounts. Okay, or could be on the application layer also, where we are finding vulnerabilities on the front end of a web page. Okay, so it depends from application to application or device to device where we are finding the vulnerabilities, not just limited to one single layer. Sarish.
Okay, okay, yeah, thank you.
Okay, and again, not specifically linked only to web applications as well, will be covering all endpoints. Okay, right. So again, when we talk about network attacks, most of them would be happening on the transport layer and the network layer. Okay, that's third layer 3 and layer 4 for you again, right? So again, depends on the attack that you're performing and the device you're trying to attack as well. Okay. Now, moving on, after these definitions of hacking and ethical hacking, we need to understand what categories of hackers exist. So there are three broad categories: white hat hackers, gray hat hackers, and black hat hackers. Your black hat hackers are cyber criminals who perform hacking for their own benefit. These are people who perform hacking for their own benefit without asking for consent, and they do it for their own personal gain. Okay, so there is again this category of cyber criminals who are launching cyber attacks on various organizations, and they're also commonly known as black hat hackers. On the other end of the spectrum, we have white hat hackers. White hat hackers are people who abide by the laws and policies of the organization, and they work for securing the organization's infrastructure, also commonly known as penetration testers or ethical hackers. And in between, there's a third mysterious category called gray hat hackers. Now, these gray hat hackers are people who perform hacking as well without asking for permission. But once they find the vulnerability, they report it back to the company like a white hat hacker. So they have both the properties of black hat hackers as well as white hat hackers, working both offensively and defensively, depending on the situation, and they are therefore called as grey hat hackers. These are people who perform hacking, but in return for a bounty. A bounty is like a financial reward they expect in return for reporting back that vulnerability without misusing it. Okay. That's something like freelance hackers as well. Okay. So grey hat hackers are a combination of black hat and white hat hacker properties working for financial benefits in return, but in a slightly more ethical way compared to the cyber criminals. Okay. And no matter what category of hacker you take, black hat hackers, gray hat hackers, or white hat hackers, they perform hacking or ethical hacking in a certain procedure. And that procedure is called as cyber kill chain. Some organizations also refer to this as hacking cycle. This is the procedure that is followed by hackers to perform a successful cyber attack. So the procedure that is followed by cyber criminals to launch an attack and get complete access to devices is called as cyber kill chain, okay, or hacking cycle. And this procedure also allows cyber security professionals to understand how these attacks are being performed, to detect them at the earliest time possible, and to prevent them at every level in the organization. Unless and until you know how these attacks are being performed or what is the logic behind that attack or the vulnerability, you would never know how to prevent those attacks. Okay. In order to understand how an attack is being performed and how to prevent it, you would need to replicate the same techniques as a hacker. Okay. And that is why it is the same procedure followed by hackers and ethical hackers, commonly known as the cyber kill chain. Okay. Procedure that hackers follow to perform a successful cyber attack, and the same knowledge of that procedure which allows cybersecurity professionals to prevent these attacks as well. Okay. And this procedure consists of 5 important steps in it. There's information gathering, there is scanning, there is gaining access, there is maintaining access, and finally, there is reporting or clearing traces. Now here, if you carefully observe, only the last step has 2 different terminologies, reporting or clearing traces, because that is where it makes all the difference. No matter what category of hacker you are, white hat, gray hat, or black hat, first 4 steps are exactly similar. Nothing changes in the procedure in the first 4 steps. What varies for black hat hackers or white hat hackers is the last step. If you are a white hat hacker or a gray hat hacker, you report the vulnerabilities back to the organization, which is reporting. On the other hand, if you're a cyber criminal, you don't report anything. Whatever data you've obtained, whatever attacks you've performed, you try to remove the evidence of that action. Okay, you try to stay anonymous and untraceable. That is clearing traces. Okay, but don't worry, we'll get into this in a bit more in depth in a while. But these are the 5 steps that are involved in the cyber kill sheet. And our course's agenda is to understand what these 5 steps are as a cyber professional. Okay. Any queries or any questions up to this point? Abhishek, Ashish, Joshua, Kiran, Praveen, Saresh, Surya, Jeevan Reddy, Yas, Varun, Fanindra Kumar, Ashish. Any questions, guys? All okay with the audio and the video? Everything fine? Any queries or doubts up to this point? Should I repeat any certain
It's
concept?
better to repeat why because it's a little bit confusing.
Oh, no worries. Perfect. That's completely fine. Please do let me know, guys. If something is confusing you, if something is not easy to understand, do let me know. Completely new concepts, right? So it might seem a bit confusing, but it's my responsibility to see to it that you understand everything clearly in this demo. Okay. So thank you for letting me know that, Suresh. Okay. So going one step or just 1 or 2 slides back. Okay. So as mentioned, these are the 3 categories of hackers you have. Black hat hackers are the cyber criminals. White hat hackers are the cyber professionals, and gray hat hackers are the you could say the freelancing hackers or the freelancing cyber professionals. Oh, was someone saying something? I could hear a voice.
Sir,
Mm,
like for this, like
oh, Kiran.
cybersecurity, is it networking is required? Like, is it good to know networking as well?
Yeah, that is one of the prerequisites, Kiran, understanding what IP addresses are and what are some important networking protocols. But nothing to worry, all of those topics are actually included in the course itself. So the first class we have tomorrow, the next day, is networking fundamentals, understanding what IP addresses are, understanding what DNS protocol is, what DHCP protocol is, what are public IPs, what are private IPs. So all these networking fundamentals are actually included in the course. Not every institute does that. Again, but again, since that is one factor that is causing an issue for students, what we have learned and what we have done is we have included those prerequisites in the course itself. Okay. So from all the student feedbacks and stuff, we understood that these concepts are not taught in other institutes, and that is what is causing an issue. So all the prerequisites like networking fundamentals, Linux commands, virtualization, all these prerequisites which are not directly or linked to cybersecurity but still required are included in the first few classes itself. Okay. So for answering your question, you need those concepts, or you don't need to learn them from anywhere else. They are included in the course. Okay. So yeah, you need prerequisites for the course, but they are included in the course. So you don't need to learn anything from anywhere else before joining this. Okay. Is that clear?
Okay, and like I am like a Java developer. Like, can I
Mhm.
switch my domain to this cybersecurity, or how can I?
Yeah,
What's the
definitely. Because again,
road
as
way?
mentioned,
Like,
yeah,
will this is like consider like some people they are belongs to different domains, or they are maybe some cloud or like Java or any domain. So consider
Mhm.
like how we can switch to this cybersecurity. Like, will you please tell the path? Like,
Definitely. So again, when you talk about cybersecurity, it would be involving on both network devices, endpoints, or applications as well. So if you're a developer, the job role that you would apply for is application security engineer. Okay. Seeing to it that you can perform code reviews or source code analysis of vulnerabilities in the source code. So that is also a possible stream in cybersecurity. Okay. Once this course is done, you can upskill yourself to learn code analysis or SAST, static analysis security testing. Okay. So, but again, this gives you the idea on what vulnerabilities could exist on these applications. So we won't be showing you how to perform code analysis, but because you already know development, but we'll be telling you what vulnerabilities are existing in applications and what is leading to those. Okay. So that is something that you can apply for or again pursue in cybersecurity. Since you're a Java developer, you can apply for application security engineer or application security source code reviewer. Okay. Is that clear?
okay, sir, thank you.
Right. Moving on. Again, as mentioned, these are the three categories of hackers, and no matter what category you take, all of them perform the same procedure, which is called as cyber kill chain. Cyber kill chain is a procedure that is followed by cyber criminals to perform successful cyber attacks, an attack which has like a very high success rate and which never fails most of the times. Okay, and the same procedure also allows cyber security professionals to understand what is leading to those attacks, to understand how to protect the organization from those attacks and to prevent them in the first place. Okay, so the procedure to attack or defend the systems is very similar because unless and until you know how the attacks are being performed, you wouldn't know how to defend those systems. To become a good police officer, you need to become a good thief, versus what my objective is. Okay, unless and until you know what are the loopholes that a thief knows, you wouldn't know how to catch that thief. Okay, same logic here as well. Unless and until you understand the mindset of a hacker, you would never become a proper cybersecurity professional. Okay, so that is what we'll be learning. So how hacks are being performed, how cyber threats occur, and how do you protect your organization from those same cyber threats. Okay, and the procedure for that includes 5 important steps in it. There's information gathering, scanning, gaining access, maintaining access, and reporting or clearing traces. These are the same exact 5 steps that hackers follow and cybersecurity professionals as well. Likewise. Okay. Now, let me explain about each of these steps one by one in a brief manner so you understand about the entire course. Okay. So, the first step we have here is information gathering. The main, again, this is also commonly known as reconnaissance or footprinting, just other names or terminologies given to the same procedure. Okay. And the main objective here is to gather as much information as possible about your target organization. From the name itself, you can figure out what we are doing here. We're trying to gather as much data or as much information as possible about our target client. And an important piece of information to note here is we obtain this data passively. What I mean by passively is we do not contact the organization in any way. We don't let the organization know that we're getting information about them. All the data here is obtained from the internet itself, from some special websites or special information sources on the internet. Now, to give you an example, again, as an information gathering task, what we pen testers do is we try to obtain all these pieces of data. IP addresses, network blocks, host records, DNS records, domains and subdomains, operating system information, employee details, contact numbers, email addresses, usernames and passwords of those employees. Might seem very overwhelming, guys, but again, and you might not understand all these terminologies today, but don't worry. As we progress with our classes, you'll understand every single thing. Okay. But the main agenda, as mentioned, of this step is to obtain all these pieces of information about any organization. Okay. And as mentioned, all of this data is readily available on the internet. The only thing is you need to know where can we obtain that data from. Okay. So if I show you an example for this, let's say if I want the DNS records for any organization, all I have to do is open up my browser here. And in my browser, I can search for a website called DNS Dumpster. So I can just search over here, DNS Dumpster. Oh, it's already available here. Okay. And over here, you can see there's an input field. And if I enter an organization's name, let's say if I enter Microsoft.com, Tesla.com, anything works. You can choose any organization, even the domain or the company that you're working for currently. And now when I search for that, you can see these are all the DNS records for that organization. Where are DNS servers? Firstly, sorry, where are the servers for that organization located? In which region of the world? And what are the different categories of servers that exist for that organization? So Tesla has these web servers available. So A records are linking to web servers for their domains and subdomains and the correlating IP addresses. So this website for Tesla is hosted on a server with this public IP on it. Okay. So these IPs are very crucial for a hacker or an ethical hacker because on these IPs itself, you initiate the attacks. Okay. And this website DNS Dumpster is capable of providing all those IP addresses to you. Okay. So these are all the domains of Tesla and their exact IP addresses. If you notice, everything is a unique IP here for each of their websites. Scroll down much further. This is the mail server for Tesla. Tesla is using Outlook.com for their mail, and this is the exact IP address of their mail server as well. Then the NS records. These are the DNS servers of Tesla. There are 7 DNS servers currently with these IP addresses, and these servers are containing all this information actually. Okay, and then this is the entire network topology of Tesla on the internet. Their public footprint, I would say. Each of these boxes is a representation of their server and their exact IP addresses for those servers. The entire network topology on the internet for Tesla. And this can be obtained for any organization. And if you notice, I've searched here for Tesla. If I search for Wipro, this is for Wipro here. Okay, so this is basically information gathering, trying to obtain information about your organization or your client from the various sources on the internet. But the main agenda is getting to know what those sources are, what these websites are. Okay, unless and until you know what these websites are, you wouldn't know where to obtain the data from. And nothing is illegal here, guys. All of this data is given out by the organization itself. Wipro needs to give out this information to various servers on the internet. These websites just collect that data and put it in one single place for you to have an easier access to it. So we're not stealing anything. We're not trying to, again, invade anyone's privacy or anything. We are getting this data from the internet itself, which is given out by the same organization. But these websites collect that data and put it in one single place for us to have an easier access to it. Okay, that's all. Okay, so in a similar fashion, this is for DNS records. There are other websites for obtaining other information as well. Okay, for IP addresses and network blocks, there's another website. For whose records, there's another website. For domains and subdomains, there's another website. Okay, for contact numbers and email addresses, there's another website. Okay, so information gathering is using all these publicly available resources to obtain information about any organization. Okay, and once all of that data is obtained, that data is taken as the input for the next phase, which is scanning. Okay. Any questions or doubts up to this point? Okay, assuming no questions, moving further. So after information gathering is done, then we have the next phase, which is called as scanning. This is also commonly known as enumeration, guys. So this is the phase where we make some active connections now. Earlier, we got the data passively. We did not make any contact with the organization. But here now, with whatever IP addresses we have obtained, whatever domains and subdomains we have obtained, we now make active and aggressive connections on those devices. Okay, and we try to get some extra data on them, which could lead to various cyber threats. To understand scanning, we can break it down in three simple stages. There's something called as network scanning, port scanning, and vulnerability scanning. Network scanning is where you try to figure out in the organization what active devices exist in their network. What routers do they have? What servers do they have? What firewalls do they have? Okay, how many web servers they might have? Okay, how many client operating system devices do they have? Okay, how many desktops do they have in the network? So basically, getting to understand or know their internal network topology is known as network scanning. Okay. What we got in the earlier phase was their online topology. This is their offline internal on-premise topology. Okay, in their internal organization, what devices exist? And on those devices, then you perform port scanning to figure out what ports are open and what services or applications could be running on them. Okay, you have multiple services running in an organization: HTTP service for web servers, DNS service for DNS servers, SMTP service for their mail servers. Okay, and these services run on logical ports on systems. So we try to figure out what ports are available or open on every singular system, and on those ports, what services or what applications are running. And finally, once you know what applications or services are running, then you perform vulnerability scanning, figuring out what services or what applications could contain vulnerabilities to be attacked on. During this phase, we'll be working on two very important tools. One is called as Tenable Nessus, and one is called as Nmap. Nmap is the network and port scanner, completely open source, a very popular tool, been there since 1997, I would say. Okay, and still used as its source code is completely open source. Okay, again, a lot of commercial applications use Nmap in their source code to perform network and port scanning. Okay, then we have another tool called Tenable Nessus. You might have heard about this tool, a very popular one used in a lot of organizations, but quite expensive actually. It's around $7,000 or $8,000. Okay, and that only for 1 year subscription again. Okay, don't worry. Luckily, there's a trial version for us to understand how to run this tool. So I'm going to practically explain how to install this application in your organization, how to run this application to perform vulnerability scanning, and how do you generate vulnerability reports out of it. So this tool is capable of giving you a report which tells you what system contains what vulnerabilities and what misconfigurations. So it is automating the task of vulnerability scanning. Okay, but that report just can't be blindly trusted. With that report, you perform something called penetration testing. You verify each vulnerability shown in that report, you assess every single vulnerability, and you perform the various attacks possible and verify them. Okay, so that is where comes the next phase, gaining access. Okay, so this is where the phase of the real hacking occurs. Okay, attackers or penetration testers use the vulnerabilities found in the earlier phases to gain access to a singular system or to a singular application or to the entire network in the organization. So this is where you start attacking every single vulnerability and get access to the various devices. So this is the core of the subject, contains various topics here, as you can see. Might not be able to explain all of them today, but I'm going to give you a brief intro on each of them. Okay. So the first topic we have here is system hacking. So in an organization, you have multiple devices, okay, client operating system devices like Windows or Linux devices. Once a hacker gets access to any of those devices, he exfiltrates the data, steals your data, and he might lock you out of your own device. Okay? He might change your system's password. So in such a case, you need to know how to get back access into your device. So how do you crack that newly generated password, or how do you bypass that password to get back access into your device is called system hacking, trying to crack or bypass any Windows or Linux operating system passwords. Then comes malware attacks. Malwares are malicious softwares. 85% of cyber threats today occur due to malwares initiated by employees without proper knowledge. Okay, so malwares again are malicious softwares, and there are tons and tons of categories of them: viruses, worms, trojans, spyware, whatnot. We'll practically learn how hackers create malwares, how to defend your system from these same malwares, and how do you detect them if they are already installed on your system and you have no clue about it. Okay, so how do you again create malwares, defend against malwares, and detect malwares on your systems? Then comes network penetration testing, where we learn what are the common attacks in a local network. Attacks like sniffing attack, man in the middle attack, denial of service attack, distributed denial of service attack, in short known as DOS and DDoS attacks. Okay, hacking Wi-Fi routers and cracking the password for Wi-Fi routers. All of this falls under network penetration testing. Okay. Using these attacks, hackers can capture your data in a local network or shut down remote servers by overloading them with traffic and crashing them. Or you can also crack Wi-Fi passwords. All of this falls under network penetration testing. Oh, I think someone was asking a question. I heard someone's mic unmute. Any questions, guys? Any confusion? Okay, no worries. Moving on, after this, we have social engineering attacks, basically where hackers try to trick victims into giving out their credentials. So attacks like phishing attacks fall under social engineering, where hackers can create exact replica of any web page. So it could be your social media pages like Facebook or Instagram, or it could be your bank login pages, okay, your employee login pages, any website. Hackers can create a fake replica of it, send those to the victims and steal their credentials. So these are commonly known as phishing attacks, and we'll practically learn how do hackers perform them. And as cybersecurity professionals, how do you detect these phishing pages? What are the common factors to look for when you see a login page to verify whether it's safe or not? We'll cover all that in social engineering. Then comes hacking web servers or web applications. In the organization, the face of the organization on the internet is their website. And this website can contain vulnerabilities on the front end or on the back end on their web servers. So we'll practically learn how to find these vulnerabilities on the websites. If I show you a prime example for this, let me show you this on a live website today. Okay. So for example, over here, there's a vulnerability called SQL injection. Let me show you. SQL injection. The other day, I found a vulnerability on this web page. So this is the CBHE Delhi website in India. Again, a very popular website for Central Board of Education in India, as you can see. And again, official government website itself. I have already reported it to them. I'm not sure if they have rectified this yet or not, or if they've checked my report or not. But this also has a web page, if you notice, an admin login page, if you notice. Oh, sorry, back admin/login.php. Now, whenever you see login pages like this, there's a possibility that this page is connected to a database in the backend, definitely. Okay, and this database sometimes could have a possibility of a vulnerability on it called SQL injection, where hackers can inject malicious SQL queries and they can bypass authentication or perform unwanted actions on a database. They can bypass authentication, they can modify the content of the database, or they can delete the entire tables from the database, do whatnot. Okay, so now if I inject a malicious query here, as simple as single quote or 1 = 1 hash. Now you might not understand this query today, but don't worry, I'll explain this in detail in the upcoming sessions. But if I paste that query and if I click on submit, you can see I've got admin access, admin panel. This should not have happened. So if I click on 12th result or show data, this is the data for the session of April for 10th standard in 2024. Show data, and you can see this is all private data. Student name, student ID, care of, father's name, mother's name, how much marks, how many marks did they score, etc., etc. This should not have happened. Okay, this is me accessing private data from other organizations without their consent. This is a cyber threat for the organization, and this happened through a vulnerability called SQL injection. I'm trying to blur it out so that you don't see it either, but that is what again SQL injections are. Okay, so again, that is what we'll practically learn. How do you perform these attacks? What is the logic behind those attacks on the web pages, and how do you prevent those attacks? So what I've shown is SQL injection. There are other vulnerabilities as well: cross-site scripting, broken authentication, file upload vulnerability, etc., etc. Bypassing authentications, deleting or accessing other user accounts, deleting the data from their web servers, uploading malicious files to web servers, and again, getting remote connection to the web servers, logging into others' accounts with their cookies. All of these are different attacks that are possible in web pages, and we'll practically learn each of those. For this, we'll also be using a very important tool. We'll be working on a tool called Burp Suite. Okay, a very popular application used in web application testing. Okay, there's a pro version for this as well. If you go to products and Burp Suite Pro, this tool is around $475. But again, don't worry, I'll be providing this tool to you for free. So this $475 tool, which is like the cost of around 40,000 or 41,000, will be provided to you for free. Again, don't worry, there's a cracked version for it, completely safe, the same version which I use as well, and I'll be providing that tool for free to you by the end of this course. Okay. So again, the course is priced at 8,000 rupees, guys, but you almost get content of 60 or 70,000 rupees for free from the course itself. Okay. So again, just letting you know. Moving on, after all this, after web servers and web application testing, we'll also be talking about evading techniques. So in organizations, there are always security measures, intrusion detection systems, intrusion prevention systems, your firewalls, your web application firewalls, WAFs, etc., etc. Now, having those devices is not the only thing that is required. Having them configured right is what matters most. Okay, so just by having a firewall in the organization with basic rules might not prevent all the cyber threats in today's world. Having them configured right with the latest tools and with the latest detection rules is what's more important. So we'll practically learn what these important detection rules are and how do you prevent again these devices from facing any flaws. Okay, and if there is a misconfiguration, if there is a flaw, how do you bypass that? That is also what we learn. That is evading these security measures. Then comes vulnerability assessment. As mentioned, we get a vulnerability report from a tool like Nessus, and that report needs to be verified. So verification of that report is called as vulnerability assessment. I might have a report on my system, just a second. Let me just show you what that report looks like as well. Yeah, got it. So if I share my screen here. Now, this is what a necessary report looks like, guys, once it is scanned. So as you can see, it shows you how many vulnerabilities exist on each system, on each device with their IPs. So this is a very generic report, okay, an executive report telling you how many systems, sorry, which system contains how many vulnerabilities categorized according to their impact. Their critical vulnerabilities, high vulnerabilities, medium vulnerabilities. Okay, this is generated by a tool like Nessus. Okay, this is an executive report. There's a much more in-depth pen tester report as well, where it shows you what the vulnerability's name is, what is its synopsis, the description, okay, and the solution to prevent that vulnerability. So this is what a vulnerability report looks like. And this is automatically generated by the tool called Tenable Nessus. Okay. But this report can still not be blindly trusted. You have to verify every vulnerability shown here. Okay. And that verification is done by a penetration tester. That is what we do as pen testers. Okay, so I'll show you how to generate these reports and how to verify these reports from the tool called Tenable Nessus. Okay, once that is done, then we finally talk about hacking mobile phones as well. Again, one of the most important devices in an organization for which every employee owns. Learning how what vulnerabilities exist on mobile phones, how do hackers get access to your mobile phones through malicious applications like Trojans, etc., etc. Okay, so the main agenda here, as mentioned, guys, is to attack every single endpoint and check the security of every single endpoint. We talk about system security, network security, wireless security, web server security, web application security, firewall security, and mobile phone security as well. Okay, and again, a lot more topics as well, not included here in the presentation, but included in the course content documentation. Okay, once all this is done, once we have learned how to attack every single endpoint, every single application, and defend them, finally we have the last two modules, which are maintaining access and reporting or clearing traces. These two phases are very simple. I would say the simplest of all. Okay. Maintaining access is where once I've gotten a remote connection to a system, how do I maintain a persistent connection? So even if you restart your system, I should still be connected to you. That is what is a persistent connection is. Okay. So learn how hackers retain that ownership of the target and perform various post-exploitation tasks. What I mean by post-exploitation task is things that you do after successful exploitation. So from your attack system, I can attack other devices in the network. I can pivot your device and use it as the source for other attacks. So all those are post-exploitation tasks. Okay. And once all that has been obtained, finally we have reporting or clearing traces. As an ethical hacker, it's your responsibility to generate a report for the organization, elaborating all the vulnerabilities that you found. Okay. And these vulnerabilities are reported to the organization and they're told this is what again is lacking security wise in your organization, and these are the solutions to apply to remediate those vulnerabilities. On the other hand, if you're a non-ethical hacker, a cyber criminal, you don't report anything. You remove the footprints generated, you remove the evidence of your actions, you delete all the log files, okay, so that you can hide your identity and stay untraceable. Okay, so that is what again cyber criminals do, and we'll practically look into what files they are deleting, what logs they are deleting. Okay, so we can understand the symptoms of a cyber threat. Okay, And these are the 5 stages of the hacking cycle. This is what you're supposed to be knowing as a penetration tester or a cybersecurity professional. And this course is going to teach you everything from scratch up to the advanced level. Okay, so that is the 5-step hacking cycle, guys. This course is for a duration of 35 days. We have classes from Monday to Friday, every day each. And again, I think the course is starting from tomorrow itself at 9 p.m. IST in the night. This batch 9 p.m. is suitable for both candidates who are also working employees, because you might be reaching back home by that time, I suppose. Okay, so from tomorrow at 9 p.m. in the evening, you have the batch starting. Okay, and every session is being recorded, so you'll be getting these recordings directly to your Google Drive as well. So if you have any queries, you can always refer back to those recordings or ask me about it in the next class. All these presentation slides, all these notes are already prepared for you. You'll be getting these documentations as well, and the recordings and the content and the tools, all of them priced at 8,000 rupees from the Institute DURGASOFT. Again, I train for multiple institutes at the same time, guys. I've been training for institutes in Bangalore, in Mumbai. I'm the same trainer there also. I train for a lot of consultancies in US as well. Okay, trust me, this is the cheapest price that you can find anywhere for this course, Certified Ethical Hacking. And as mentioned, this course requires no prerequisites. Okay, all of them are included in the course itself. Networking, Linux, everything is included in course. You don't need to learn anything from elsewhere. All you need is just a device, okay, a system to perform the practicals on. Okay, and that again, I would say the recommendation of that system, the configuration required is at least i3 processor, okay, i3 or i5, 8 gigabytes of RAM. 16 is recommended. If you have 8, that is also fine. And at least 100 to 150 gigabytes of free storage on your laptop or on your device. Okay, course is priced at 8,000 rupees as mentioned. It can be paid in multiple installments. I would say that is one of the best prices available for the course. Please contact the institute for any further queries regarding the payment details. Okay, but again, the course is priced at 8,000. Or I'm not sure. Just confirm with the institute once, guys. Again, this is with AI. So again, I've included some AI topics as well. Recently, the course content has changed a bit. We have added a few more newer topics. Okay, so just confirm with the institute once with the price thing as well. No offline classes, guys. I'm not located in Hyderabad for offline classes. I stay in Visakhapatnam in a completely different region. So currently, there's only online classes, no offline. And for course fees, please contact the institute and confirm with them once. Okay. How are we going to integrate AI in this course? Again, a lot of things have been automated with AI, Abhishek. In your Kali operating system, one of the operating systems that we're using for this course, it has a tool called Shell GPT, where you can basically enter prompts and get the output of certain commands. Because in this course, we'll be learning a lot of Linux tools. Okay, so we need to understand what those tools are and how they work. But there's too many tools at times. So sometimes you might forget those tools. In such places, you can use this Shell GPT AI tools to understand or remember what the command is or execute command on your behalf. Okay, so that is how we'll be integrating AI in this. Okay, you don't require any Linux background or programming languages for this course, guys. We do require some Linux basics, but they are included in the course, Jai Prakash, as mentioned. Okay. So again, as mentioned, no prerequisites required for this course. You can do this course without learning anything prior. Okay. When will you start enable? Once we talk about the network scanning phase, when we talk about network scanning and vulnerability assessment, that is when we'll be learning the enable tool. Yes, it is one of the topics in the course. Okay. In the scanning phase, we talk about enablenesses. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions or queries? For the course price, please contact the institute, guys. I think they have mentioned their contact details in the chat. If not, you can just visit the official website as well and confirm with them. Okay. Sure. Thank you. I'll be seeing you tomorrow at 9 p.m. IST. So as mentioned, the new class, the batch starts tomorrow itself at 9 p.m. IST, as mentioned in the chat box. Okay. It's at 9 p.m. IST, Monday tomorrow, Indian Standard Time. Okay. Have a good day. Thanks for joining the session today. I'll be connecting back with you soon. Take care. Have a good day. Bye.